of the alcohol. La 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all. La 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 la. Well, my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me. And you and me. And you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris,
I'm Russ.
and this is episode 226.
Episode 226. Welcome once again, one and all, to another exciting adventure here on Nerds with Alcohol.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Star Wars Day.
Yeah, I think it's my Catholic upbringing that whenever someone says "May the Force be with you," I always want to say "and also with you."
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's mine as well, because I was raised Roman Catholic, and as many people, hopefully the listeners remember, is that once I got confirmed at 14, I was out ski. I don't no thanks with the Catholicism thing. But anyway, it's funny. The comic book artist, one of my favorite comic book artists and personal heroes, Frank Cho, posted that same kind of conversation today at May the Force be with you. And he goes, sorry, Catholic upbringing, I always want to say, and also with you. And I'm actually one of his top fans on his Facebook page. And I chimed in as well. I was like, man, being raised Roman Catholic, yeah. We didn't go every Sunday. We were like Easter and Christmas
The Easter Christmas
Catholics.
Catholic.
But my the high holidays, Good Friday, Easter, the kind of things like that. And then, but my grandparents were big Catholics. So, that was, their influence was very much in there. So yeah, every time, man, I just
12 years Catholic school.
My reflex is, and also with you, shit.
Yep. But yeah, 12 years Catholic school. That's,
Man, I'm so sorry for you. I didn't do Catholic school. I did catechism.
mm-hmm.
I did public school, but I did catechism. So I had 10 years of religious education once a week, every week.
Yep.
Like 40 weeks a year, whatever it was, because they didn't make us do it during the summer.
Rulers. Yeah.
It's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's all my.
No, it's the nuns with the.
No, I know that, but it's a.
I actually did have nuns.
Catholics always blame ourselves for everything. Original sin. It's my fault. I did it. It's my fault. What was that? Did you ever get whacked by a ruler?
No, but I did have nuns. That really wasn't a thing when I was in school. But I did have some of the same nuns that my parents had when they were in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
same damn nuns, huh?
Yeah, like my 3rd grade teacher was Sister Evereldis. And my dad had her for 3rd grade as well. And he said she was old when he had her.
Man, that's crazy sauce. That is really crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, so Star Wars, I am wearing my Star Wars shirt. It's more of tomorrow's type thing. It's the Revenge of the Sith, more of that.
I'm got my Rebel shirt on.
Yep. Yeah. So that's pretty much us. You with your Rebel scum and me with my Imperial heroes.
The lawful good, or the chaotic good versus the lawful evil. Right there. Hey, yes, it is great that we honor today as Star Wars Day. It's also National Teachers Day, so very going out to all the teachers out there. Happy Teachers Day.
And this is something I want to mention as well. This day actually also marks the 5-year anniversary of Michael Wiggins passing.
Oh, fuck balls, man. Shit.
So I did want to mention that because, it has been 5 years. He was one of my oldest friends. And I knew him since high school. And so it was This is one of those days that, yeah, it's great, but it was the day, and it was. I mean, I don't want to say it was fitting, but it was. I mean, it made sense that he would pass on the Force, because he just went into the Force, is what it was.
Right.
He became one with the Force.
Became one with the Force. He was one of your oldest friends, but he was also a good friend to me. I didn't know him near as long as you, but he was always. It devastated me when he died 5 years ago. I remember getting a call from John Alexi, and while I was at work and leaving work early, and telling the guys I'm not going to be available much for a couple of days, and driving to Cindy's house, because they lived, a stone's throw from me, and actually driving to Cindy's house and finding out she was at her in-laws, and finding them. I just kind of was like, I think I've been there once.
They're also not far from you.
Right, exactly. And I knocked on the door, and Cindy opens it, and she goes, "How'd you find me?" I said, I found you. I used the Force. It was, but yeah, it's still, and I mean, it's wild, and it's really weird, because every year since Michael passed, I've lost a friend right around this time of year. Mike McPherson, Mike, 1 year, Mike Wade down in Florida, another year. We just recently lost Bruce. And then I'm trying to think, I had one more right around this time of year, I think last year. And I'm blanking right now.
My daughter's mother actually passed away this time of year too.
Oh, wow.
It was just a few days ago.
Holy smokes. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't just a few days ago, but it was like 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So a drink to Mr. Wiggins, as we've said before.
No, I'll raise this one, because he was a mead guy.
He was a mead guy, absolutely. I mean, as I've said several times when we've honored our fallen brethren, never shall we see their like again.
Nope.
Man, fucking laid me out when Mike Wiggins died. That was so. Yeah, he married you guys. That's right.
Yeah, he did.
About that. Yeah.
Yep. And I was in shock. I was honestly in shock when I first heard it. And then
you could have knocked me over the feather, man. I was blown. I just was blown away.
That was a really rough several months, because there were so many memorials for him.
Yeah.
One of which I actually spoke at, and it was tough, because every time you'd start getting to where the wound was healing a little. I mean, it's always there, but it's that healing of the wound. Someone comes by and rips the scab off.
Right.
And it kept going, and to the point where eventually I'm like, I can't do any more of these.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, after it was like 6 months later, and there were still, and I understand he touched a lot of lives, and people wanted to honor his memory. But
like 6 months later, Ren Fair came around, and then
like, I can't keep doing this.
Right. Yeah. No, it was true, because like Ren Fair rolled around and people were like, "Oh, Mike Wiggins," and then Halloween rolled around and "Oh, Mike Wiggins," and everybody was, Yule rolls around and Mike Wiggins, and I was like, Jesus Christ, and then a year passed, and then you start seeing the memories come up on your Facebook wall, because that's what I have to look forward to now in the next couple of days, is seeing all the posts about, and the memories of with my, actually the last couple of days, for whatever reason, I have had a few memories come up about Mike, about just events that we were at together. To just today, some pictures from the SteamCon, where I painted his face as, the androids, when I did the whole group android thing for when we were honoring Steam Powered Giraffe. And it was just like, fuck, man. Mike was always extremely supportive of me and my work, my body painting, my artwork. He was always extremely supportive, and I just was like, man,
Yep. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that, and then we can move on. So
right.
But yeah, so today is May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Tomorrow is the Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the 5th, and then the latest one, and I posted this on our Facebook page, that I saw that I thought was actually really funny, is This is the May.
This is the May. I like that one too. This is the May. I don't see why we can't have a Star Wars month.
Yeah, exactly.
I first tried mead from this podcast, at least to my memory. So okay, thanks. Yeah, CD, thanks. Mead is Mike was a big mead guy for sure. He was a big fan of mead nectar.
Well, he's the one that introduced me to Moniac.
Yeah, he was the one that he was the Moniac guy, man. He was Moniac. It was so the last time I had Moniac, I actually I know it was it was a couple years ago. My friend from the Mayor Dave from Ren Fair.
Yeah,
he passed away right around this time of year as well. Actually, I think it was a little later. Yeah, it was a little bit later in the year. It was closer to the summertime, but even so, yeah, Mike was a huge fan of mead. In fact, he always had mead to kind of share, and I remember, the last time I had Moniac, it was because I was toasting Dave Harris from Ren Fair. We had a little toast to him. The last of a bottle of mead, last of a bottle of Moniac I had. I toasted him with some housemates and whatnot. So
I might actually have like a tiny bit of Moniac left.
I don't think I have any. Otherwise, I'm surprised because I do tend to save it. For those of you guys who haven't had Moniac, it is easily one of the best meads on the market.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get it in the States.
You have to go to Canada to get it. We can't get it over here yet.
And you can't always get it in Canada because it's one of those things where if they don't have enough honey, they don't ship it. It's actually made in Scotland. It used to be made in a castle in Scotland, but they actually no longer make it there. But it is a heather honey mead, and it is absolutely delicious.
Smooth as silk, a great flavor. I mean, you have it's not the highest alcohol content, so you don't have to worry about getting fucked up. You could just kind of like enjoy the taste. It's about like a standard wine, so you really just enjoy the taste of it. It's funny. I was just talking to Stella about drinking and about how growing up, I didn't have booze in the house. Like my parents were not drinkers, and I'm still not and I've often said this, I'm still not a big drinker. Doing this podcast, I've drank more, like weekly. The last 4 years of us doing this podcast has caused me to be a little more regular of a drinker, but I'm still not the guy that goes out to the pub and is like, hey, let's go and get drinks.
That's me.
That's you, right? If we go, I might have a drink and then that's about it. I'm just not a big drinker. And I've just never been.
Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that.
Yeah, your back stock in booze at your house is ridiculous. I mean, when I went down to visit my parents, and saw like alcohol in the fridge in the garage, I was shocked because, like I said, my mom drank coffee, my dad drank Pepsi. We just didn't have beer in the house. I could count on one hand the number of times I could see. I count on one hand the number of times I saw my dad drink as a child, and growing up, it just wasn't a thing. And I will admit, I mean, like I said, I'm still not a big drinker, but I will say that I have grown to have a greater appreciation for it over the last few years, drinking the different meads and ciders and stuff that I have tried. So I do appreciate that, but I'm still not, it's just not my biggest jam,
I don't drink to get drunk. I drink because
you like the flavor.
I like the flavors. Yeah. And I like experiencing the different flavors. There are some beers I just don't like.
Right. And when was the last time you got drunk? Like, no bullshit, I can't drive home kind of drunk.
Probably like 2 summers ago when I had a party here at the house. Mm-hmm. And it's usually because I wind up mixing beer and liquor. That's when I really get hammered. And
never sicker.
If I stick to one or the other, well, no, it depends on the order you do them in.
Right.
But if I stick to one or the other, I'm usually fine. It's when I mix the two that.
Is it beer before liquor? Never sicker?
Yeah.
Liquor before beer, you're in the clear?
Yeah, you're in the clear, yep.
That was the thing that happened one time. Stella and I we were like, let's get drunk. Let's get, let's have some drinks and we'll get a little silly. And I was just drinking whiskey. I was drinking Jameson and just kind of like, cause I know my limitations and I'm like, I know, okay, four, maybe 6 shots within a 90-minute period, I'm gonna be toasty. Not falling down gross drunk, but nice solid buzz. And she was drinking like mixed drinks, and she had her wine, and then she had a couple of shots of Jameson, and that was like she kind of regretted that afterwards, mixing like 3 different kinds of alcohols. But yeah, not that she doesn't know her limit. Honestly, Stella could drink me under the table. It's crazy. But yeah, it was just like I think that was the last time I got.
I was like, well, Stella's German, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah. See, that's.
She is, and she's definitely a wine aficionado. Not that's maybe giving her a little too much credit. She likes wine, But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the wine she drinks is like inexpensive wine, so not really an aficionado, But ow, that was stupid. But yeah, last time I think I haven't gotten like blown out in a real long time, but the last time I got like kind of tipsy was probably one night that she and I were like, yeah, let's just get kind of fucked up, I think it was near the beginning of the pandemic, actually. It was the last time I got kind of messed up.
So how was week?
It was all right. Unfortunately, we had some bad news today. One of Dresden, my dog Dresden, one of his siblings died today. It was kind of a drag. Nawada, also known as Socks, she was one of his litter mates, and she about a month ago had a kind of a weird seizure out of the clear blue, and so the adopters had was kind of keeping an eye on her, and yeah, apparently she had a bad seizure today and died. So I was like, so we're a little bummed out about that, kind of keeping an eye. Apparently, according to Zaina, she's never once has ever had a dog that out of breeding her dogs that had a seizure issue. So it might have just cropped up. We don't know. It could have been environmental. That dog was taken on by her baby daddy, Jason. So we know it was being taken care of. So we don't know. But so that's kind of a bummer, Nawada of the Silver Hand, she had little white paws, so she called her Nawada, or Socks. Other than that, it was typical kind of
nice Celtic reference there.
Well, yeah, she named. I mean, Tuatha Dudanan is the mother, Tui, and Gwyn. I can't remember the full name, but she uses Celtic names for her main dogs. So, because Zaina is very Irish. Other than that, I mean, it was a typical. I had a kind of a quiet week. The weather has been throwing my allergies into it like a tizzy. My neck and shoulders are sore. I've got like pain shooting up my ear, and this because we had guys. For those of you guys who aren't in Michigan, it has been even more seesaw than normal. We had a couple of days in the upper 50s, low 60s, and then Sunday it was 82 and gorgeous. And then
Monday it was 60.
Yeah, Monday and today have been in the low 60s. So we're just like, I'm like ready to take a pencil and just shove it up my nose and kind of like open up my sinus cavity.
So go get a flu test. They'll swab your brain and you'll.
I'm good. No, they did that when I got whooping cough, man. I couldn't remember the 3rd grade for like a week.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. They did that when I went in for the flu test, and they're like, "Okay, we're just gonna swab and I said, "Okay," and I figured they're just gonna swab the inside of my nose. Swab my frontal lobe.
They go into your nasal cavity, and they don't just do it once. No, they got to do both sides. You're like, I've never done cocaine. I don't need to. I know what it feels like. I poked my fucking brain. It was terrible. Never again.
So
don't do that. If shots show up, it's over. CD.
Yeah, that's usually what it is for me.
That's what does it for me too. Usually, it puts me.
Now that going back to Michael Wiggins, he's the one that introduced me to bubble shots. Which bubble shots are the most evil thing on the planet.
He did that to me too.
Because if you don't know what a bubble shot is, it's a shot glass that looks like an hourglass.
It's a special shaped hour. Yeah.
The bottom is actually a little bit bigger than the top, but there is the thin thing between. And what you do is you pour a mixer in the bottom, and then you pour the liquor on top. So you can do like we used to do Captain Morgan's and Verner's ginger ale underneath. That was one of the big ones.
What is that?
What's that?
What's the name of that shot?
Captain and Verner's. We didn't really.
You didn't have a name for it. You just made it.
Yeah, we just made it. And then basically you upend the whole thing, and it basically mixes as you drink it. And so there's like none of the burn, nothing. You just get you just have to be able to drink quick because you get like 3 ounces worth of liquor. Yeah,
it's a good size shot altogether because of the mixer and
But I mean, it's just you just boom, and man, you can get fucked fast.
Fucked up fast. I honestly, the first time I started doing like shots, like kind of drinking to get fucked up, was at cons with your ex-wife. Because Kelly, Chris's ex-wife, used to bring what she would call the bar with her to these sci-fi conventions. Kelly spent most of her time just hanging out in her hotel room partying. You know, we'd go to the occasional, she'd sleep late, whatever. We'd go to the occasional get together or the occasional room party, or they'd go to the dance because there would always be some kind of masquerade ball / dance. But Kelly was she was never there for the programming. She was the programming. You know, she was there to hang out with friends and drink. And she would bring a suitcase full of liquor. And we would just show up and, hey, Kelly, what's on the menu? And, how about some Chambord? We do shots of Chambord, or we do shots. We do redheaded.
That was one of her favorites.
That was one of her favorites. Or we do redheaded sluts. And, which is another one that she liked. And, but it was one of those things where you're like, my God, what are you doing to me? This was awful. I can't remember my name. Yeah. It was something. But I mean, that was one of the first. Yeah, that was. Oh yeah. I mean, I miss those kind of cons. I haven't been to a real sci-fi con in at least a few years now. And maybe when the pandemic is over and they're back to having them regularly again, I'll check one out and go to one. Maybe go to PenguinCon or something, because I really miss those, man. They were fun. They're not like they used to be. They're not like the debauched, ridiculous parties they used to be, but they're still a good time.
But that whole crew has grown up. That's why.
Right. We've all grown up. We've gotten old. We've got kids and/or grandkids at this point. So, I mean,
mortality is real now.
I don't like to think about that shit. But other than that, just like it's been a typical week, just kind of working. We have our D&D game coming up this Friday. Guys, check us out, 7:00 this Friday on this channel on Drinking Nerds Tavern Nights.
Yep. And if you can't be there at the beginning, don't worry about it. We go till like midnight. So
we go all fucking night. We usually end between 11 and midnight. So come in and check us out. I don't know. How was your week? Sounds like you've been busy at work.
Yeah, my week has been crazy busy. I worked like 44 hours last week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is compared to what I normally work. I'm normally 40 right on the nose, or 41. But it just seemed a lot longer because of what I've been dealing with. Having an issue where I've been working on the same issue for 2 months, and it's just really wearing on me. But other than that, working on getting things ready for the game for Friday, trying to take care of things. I realized I totally fucked up and deleted one of the tavern talks before I even put it up. I thought I had gotten all of them caught up, and there was obviously one I missed, and I needed to clear up room on the hard drive because it was filling up, because these videos take up a lot of room.
Right.
So I cleared all of the old video out. I'm like, nope, I don't need any of it. Not saving it. I'm not going to be a hoarder. Just get rid of it. And unfortunately, I should have saved some of it, because I actually fucked up, and that was my fault. So there's a missing episode. There is now a missing episode of Tavern Talk. Unfortunately, it's the one where Rich actually joined us.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But other than that, yeah, that's about it. Just doing my thing. Had my first week of golf. The golf league last week, had a lot of fun. Um, Even though it was kind of a crappy day, it was cold. The rain stopped just before we started playing, and there was a little bit of drizzle at one point, but that was about it. But yeah, so
All right. Renee, just so you know, a redheaded slut is not Kelly's nickname for you. It is, that's what she put in the chat. It is 1.5 ounces of Jägermeister, 1.5 ounces of peach schnapps, and some cranberry juice.
that just sounds disgusting.
I didn't care for them all that much myself, but I think Kelly, if I remember correctly, I think Kelly did like those. You mix them together, and then you put them in a shaker, and then you pour them into the shot glass.
No, Jaeger is not my drink.
Oh no, actually, don't even mix it. Just add the Jaeger and schnapps to a tall, large shot glass. Add cranberry juice to fill the rest of the shot glass and mix. So it's 1.5 ounces of each, and then the rest is cranberry juice. So the redheaded part from the top, yeah. I'm trying to think of. We also did
cement mixer
puckers.
is just nasty.
Oh, the cement mixer's the worst.
Yeah,
those are terrible.
Talk about getting sick.
Yeah. I can't remember what snake bites are. Snake bites.
Well, snake bite is actually a stout and
right. That's cider. The stoutness. Yeah, that's a snake bite. But there's a shot that's called.
There is, yeah.
Too.
It's apple. Well, I know there's actually one. I forget what it's called, but it's basically a snake bite in a jar. It's an apple cinnamon whiskey or something like that. It's
correct. It's Yukon Jack. It is snake bite shooter, Yukon Jack and rose lime juice cordial.
Okay.
So 2 ounces of Yukon Jack and a splash
Jack and lime
ounce
juice.
of lime cordial. Mm-hmm. Yep. So usually iced into a shaker and then poured out. Yeah, man, cement mixers. Good Lord. Just yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So now that we're talking about drinks, what are you drinking?
Today I'm drinking something I'm fairly certain I've had on the show before, but it's from Farmhouse. We're doing some Michigan Nice tonight.
Midwest Nice.
Midwest Nice. I mean, that's what I mean. Midwest Nice. Opa. Oh, it's a classic.
I didn't see you there.
Yep. Oh, I'm just gonna scooch by here. It's 6.5 by volume. It says 1 gram total sugar. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, a thirst for change and ambition for better. Please recycle. It's a good cider. It's a nice kind of even keel, mid, no frills kind of cider. I like that it's Farmhouse is a Michigan cidery, which there are a lot of them. And it's a decent kind of, like I said, made from Michigan apples. The most agreeable cider around. Grab some extra, share with your neighbor at the next potluck. Yeah, it's just kind of a nice cider. Nothing Midwest nice. It's one of the best descriptions I've ever heard for a cider. It's just like, okay, I've had better, but I've definitely had a lot worse. So middle of the road. What are you drinking?
I am drinking this beautiful beverage right here.
Yeah. There's some advantage to that when your wife works at the biggest meadery in the country.
The glass cling on this is just amazing. Seeing the tears come down, but you're just rubbing it in. This is episode 13 for your reserve. There's the bottle. It's kind of, but this is it just says honey wine. Aged in bourbon barrels for 48 months. A long time ago in a basement not far from Detroit. It is a dark time for the rebel army. The evil empire has tightened its grip and has silenced the rebels' voices. In an effort to strengthen their cause, the rebels sent out thousands of bottles across the galaxy, but the Imperial troops are hot on their trail. The revolution begins today. Help us, Be Nectar fans. You're our only hope. May the pores be with you. This is a honey wine, and there's still a little bit left in there. I gotta pour that in there because I'm not letting any of this go to waste. It is 17.6% ABV. So it is kind of high, but that is just, it is so beautiful. It has it has that wonderful mead aroma. I mean, it just smells like a traditional mead.
It really does.
It is absolutely. I love the aroma, and then I'm gonna take another sip here because it is absolutely amazing. That's all I can really say. You get that. It's just that honey flavor, and it is so good, and it's got that little bit of alcohol warmth that what I call the that feeling of love, just going right through the center of your chest. It's really good. If you can find it, I definitely say get it. It is in the smaller bottles. It's in the 375s.
Yeah. I gotta admit, it is a pricier one of their pricier meads.
Yeah, I think it's like $30, or it might even be more for this one. But yeah, it's absolutely delicious. We've got some of the original, I think, downstairs, and then the 1 and 2 year reserves as well. But yeah, this is amazing. Well done to Renee and the entire Be Nectar staff. So this is direct to consumer is available. Okay, good to know. So just go to the website. Oh, not to my state.
Oh, drag. Yeah, CD. If you ever come to Detroit, let us know, man. We'll let you.
We'll meet for drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, this amazing. Five bottle caps all the way. Amazing. Yeah, again, episode 13, 4-year reserve. Any of the episode 13s are worth it, but
yeah,
this
really
this one is absolutely amazing. So
it is it is a really fantastic mead. They really knocked it out of the park.
Yep, and this is the same batch that is the original. It's just that it's been aging for 4 years.
Right. Yeah, once again, rubbing it in.
So, what do we want to start with?
Well, a couple of
I've been so busy. I've got no agenda for tonight. So,
all right,
we got to talk about Star Wars at some point. But
sure. But before we get into Star Wars stuff, let's. I'm just gonna bounce out a couple of things. There was a first look at a scrapped appearance of Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League was revealed. So if you guys want to check that out, you can just kind of Google, Green Lantern Snyder cut kind of thing, and it'll come up. Wayne T. Carr, was the actor who was set to play Jon Stewart in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It revealed the first image from the scrapped scene. It was only one scene, but the actor posted the picture to Twitter, and the guy was just kind of stretching between takes. He was in a green screen outfit and whatnot. There's a couple of shots, but you might want to look into that. It's kind of cool. Would have been great to see Jon Stewart in that, but it was also revealed today that pretty much Zack Snyder is done at Warner Brothers. He's no longer welcome. They're
moving on.
They're moving on. Everything, he's moving on, they're moving on, everybody's moving on. So we are going to continue to see things like the Aquaman. In fact, Aquaman 2 was revealed that it will be coming out later this year, and near the end of the year, actually, here in 21. So we will see, continuations of those actors playing those roles. But the Snyderverse itself, Zack Snyder's kind of take on the Justice League and whatnot is over. And although that it is unfortunate and that he did kind of a pretty awesome job doing stuff, he did have a particularly dark spin on the Justice League and on the DC universe. So, and I think that someone like David Wan and Patty Jenkins and some of the other directors that did some of the expanded universe, the other roles like the Wonder Woman movies and Aquaman and Shazam, showed that we don't that we can have DC characters without them being all doom and gloom. Yeah. It doesn't all have to be dark and whatnot. So I am very much looking forward to Aquaman 2. I am looking forward to Wonder Woman 3 when it comes out.
I'm looking forward to a Shazam 2.
Or Shazam 2 and Black Adam.
Black Adam, yep.
Black Adam due sometime next year, and Shazam 2 pretty much the year after that in 2023. So we got a lot of superhero movies coming out in the next few days. We could probably talk about that briefly too.
Well, that was one of the things I figured we could talk about that even more because
we'll get into the footage and stuff that was released yesterday. Also, there is a new Batman villain in the that was released in a comic book that came out today. DC Comics are released on Tuesday, Marvel and everything else on Wednesday. And a new DC villain for Batman, Miracle Molly. The new Batman villain, Miracle Molly, is the anti-Joker, and that is a good thing. Miracle Molly seems ready to battle the Dark Knight with practical goals and a pretty reasonable point of view. When DC and Marvel Comics issue press releases to introduce their latest hot new hero or villain, like DC did for the new Batman villain, Miracle Molly, a couple of months back, you tend to take it with a grain of salt. Nothing will ever be the same. The publishers like to tell us a lot. But the punchline is mainstream comic books almost always eventually go back to exactly how they were before. DC's cross-country rivals, Marvel, have practically mastered the concept. So it wasn't until without a hint of skepticism that we perused advanced copy of May 4th's Batman 108 the other day, the full-fledged debut of Miracle Molly after a cameo first appearance in March's Batman 106. This is basically read from the reviewer's standpoint. As I read through her quite lengthily and what I found to be a very thoughtful introduction, it slowly began to dawn on me that not only did I like Molly as a character, but that she reminded me of another new high-profile comic supervillain many of us met recently, and invoking similar concepts. Writer James Tynion IV may have also hit on a similar narrative strategy that could serve him well and put on a definitive stamp on his Batman era. Maybe Gotham actually will be changed a significant way from here on in. Let me see. Sorry, I should have read this earlier. I didn't get a chance. She's not serving her own ego by taking a victory lap. She simply reveals her motivation to Batman because he asks and because she has a perfectly legitimate reason to tell him. Basically, he's like, "What's your deal?" And she's like, "Here, let me tell you." Molly makes it plain Batman has no need to use his world's greatest detective skills, and she in fact sees through the matches disguise that he arrives in when he tries to infiltrate what he believes is the headquarters of the Unsanity Collective, the organization community of which Molly is second in command. Molly also does not appear to be any physical match or threat to Batman either. Her powers and her skills are that she's a genius at creating wearable and or cybernetic tech/human enhancement. So it's not clear if she's a metahuman or she's just very smart. I'm not going to go into all of this, but at the very least, looks like Batman may have a new, interesting villain that is challenging to him and also not necessarily somebody that is crazy pants needs to go to Arkham every time he defeats them. It looks like she might be somebody that just kind of challenges him as a crime fighter and not necessarily like, because she's got real tangible reasons to be the villain. And those, in my opinion, are honestly the best kinds of villains, the ones that you can sympathize with, like what we saw in Cap and Bucky.
In just about every Marvel movie, most of them, not all of them, but a lot of the Marvel villains have been sympathetic villains. They are those villains that you can understand and kind of get behind. I mean, Thanos wasn't wrong.
For the most part.
Yeah, his methods were not, what I would say were correct, but the universe is finite.
Right.
There are only a finite amount of resources on this planet and everywhere else, and at some point we're going to hit the breaking point. Yeah.
I mean, it would probably take millions of years, but yes, eventually there would come a point
The Earth
where,
tries to do things like send out coronavirus
right?
to mitigate, but
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a, while Molly would certainly be described as an extremist, Tanya never reveals her as a zealot. She's calm, grounded, and never displays a hint of fanaticism. Batman pushes back against some of Molly's bolder ideas and declarations, particularly her dismissive views about the wealthy. She's able to deduce Batman comes from wealth as well, but Tynion clearly doesn't have him offer much resistance or a counter argument. Molly's views appear to be views Tynion is invested in, even if exaggerated somewhat for effect. She doesn't want to rule the world or even Gotham City. Her main motivation doesn't seem to be to punish the rich. And she certainly doesn't seem interested in being Batman's polar opposite. For now, at least, Tynion seems to want us to view her more as an anti-hero than villain who's willing to break the law and perhaps do some harm to those whom she considers the villains of her story to rescue who she believes are victims. So we are seeing, it looks like, some very parallel kind of elements to possibly to, Ms. Morgan, Morgan, the Flag Smasher in
Kylie Morgenthau.
Carly Morgenthau.
Carly Morgenthau.
Yeah. So anyway, that was about it that I wanted to talk about. That that's a Star Wars thing. Oh, PlayStation has announced a partnership with Discord. Integration to start early next year. Microsoft very recently bid $10 billion to buy Discord, but the deal fell through. PlayStation has announced a new partnership with Discord. Began integrating the popular chat app with PlayStation Network in early 22. The deal now sees Sony now with a minority stake in Discord that will allow some form of integration between the communication service and PlayStation consoles. Curiously, this comes just after
what yet though.
Right. This comes just under 2 weeks after Microsoft's bid to buy Discord for $10 billion fell through. Earlier this year, VentureBeat and Bloomberg reported that Discord had received bids from several companies, but as the Wall Street Journal reported, the company ultimately halted all buyout talks on the grounds that it is performing well and prefers to stay independent at this time. So that could be cool. We could, by seeing Discord tied directly into PlayStation. Now, I would imagine it's not going to be it's not going to be exclusive. You'll still be able to use Discord on your computer. You'll still be able to use Discord on your phone. But by tying it in directly to the PlayStation network, it could be really great for PlayStation.
They can't stop it on computer because it's way too popular.
Correct.
They would have PlayStation would lose so many people if they did that. If they tried playing that card.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I personally have been playing Fallout 76 for the last 2 weeks or so, and it has been a massively improved game from when it was first released. If you guys are big fans of Bethesda games, you're a big fan of Fallout specifically, I highly recommend checking it out. It's there is a really great building aspect. They just did a 60 gig update. They go in seasons basically, and they just released like their plan for the rest of the year in seasons. They just finished the first season of the year and are now just within the other day, just May 1st started the second season. And it's more like instead, not like seasons of a television show, more like seasons in the year. And it's just really cool. I mean, there's rewards given out every day. There's, goals and different things to meet per week, per day. You get, various work up to various prizes, and which is just like more stuff, and there's a huge building element, building your bases up and collecting plans and more plans and stuff to build more things into your unlocking, basically, so you can build more things into your base. And then there's also atomic points, just like any Bethesda game. You can spend real money, buy points that you can spend in their online store, so you can add more stuff that way. The difference between their online store for this is different from, say, Fallout 4 or Skyrim, is that they are more expansive, like items and stuff to put into your building options. There isn't a building option for Skyrim yet, as far as I know, but you can do a lot of building in Fallout 4. There's just, and because it is an online game, there's a lot of you can share and compete with other players and stuff like that. Once again, really cool. And the storyline has been really entertaining as well. But Bethesda is known for really good storytelling in its games. So yeah, their games may start off kind of buggy, but storytelling is always there. So really loving that. These are the fictional video game bars I want to drink at right now. Interesting. I pulled this up. There's some really cool fictional video game bars. The Afterlife in Mass Effect 2. Pretty cool bar. The Cockatrice Inn in The Witcher 3. They're beautiful, beautiful. There's a picture of it. There's some really cool stuff. The Le Bastille Saloon in Red Dead Redemption 2. Your drinking buddy is Lenny, and their drink of name is the Hurricane. Let's see, what else? The Gates of Hell in Bayonetta. Bayonetta was such a kind of it was a really cool, aesthetically really cool game, but man, was that a tough game. It was really tough. The Hercules in Grand Theft Auto 4, The Ballad of Gay Tony, which in all actuality, if you played The Ballad of Gay Tony, that was one of the best expansions of any of the Grand Theft Auto games. That was a really cool expansion.
Never played any of those.
Oh, man. Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 were just unbelievably good. Honestly, every single one of them. Vice City, San Andreas, 4, 5, really great. I'm really looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out, like either next year or the year after. I think it's going to be great. Other than that, I don't know. You want to you want to talk some Nevers?
Yeah, we can do that if you want. We can go into the Nevers. Then we can get into the Marvel stuff later.
Sure.
Yeah. So Nevers, it looked cool. I'll just say that from the beginning when I saw the previews, because I mean it looks very
6-episode series on HBO Max.
Yep.
From producer Joss Whedon. Steampunky, turn of the century.
It starts off in 1898.
9.
And then it's 3 years later, so it's like 1901, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or it's 1890. It was 96, and it's 1899.
I think it's 1899. I think it's right before the millennium.
Yeah, so it's right
like before the century.
It starts off in 1896, and then it's 1899.
Jumps to 3 years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And basically, there's this event that happens where and what amazed me was the very first episode, they reveal what it is.
Right. Exactly.
At the end of the episode, they actually show like this alien spacecraft, it looked like, flying across London, dropping these little like snowflakes, these like glowing snowflakes.
Exactly.
And it just touches, everyone freezes and is looking up, and it touches all these different people, and then it flies away, and they all go back to lives as normal, not remembering that this happened.
Yeah. Nobody remembers. Nobody can remember not nobody. There are like one or two people, or specifically one person that does remember everything, but she's crazy. So everybody just goes, oh, she's just nuts. So yeah, what happens is basically like all of these people in London are suddenly gifted with superpowers.
Yeah.
Of various different types. The Touched. They're called the Touched. And they're given all kinds of powers. Some are very beneficial. Some are physical mutations.
Well, the other thing, though, is it's mostly women.
Mostly women, right. Like a good 75% of them or probably close to maybe 85% of them are women. There are some men, but almost all of them are, the larger majority are women. So because of that, because of the era, and because of where they're at, the ruling class of men in London basically feel threatened. So now, thankfully, they didn't go the route of like rounding everybody up into camps and, whatever, or turning or burning them all at the stake. Because once again, this is 1899. It's not 1615. So they're not like, oh, witches, burn them. But
they still do call them witches. A lot.
But they do call them, some of them are, and some of the more religious or lesser educated, the lower class
purifiers.
The purifiers. But some of the lesser educated, the more superstitious, the more do basically feel they're touched by the devil or whatever else. So, there's one character in particular, Myrtle, who can't speak. She suddenly wakes up and can't speak English anymore. She can speak every other language, apparently.
Yeah, and it's just random. Every time she starts speaking, it's a different language.
Yeah. And it's sometimes a combination of 2 or 3 together,
And some of them are dead languages and
right. I mean, she's speaking Latin and she's speaking
she understands
Japanese.
Everyone.
Yeah. And she understands English, and she for whatever reason can't get the English out. So everybody else around her is like trying to communicate with her, trying to understand what she's saying. She'll say things like "see" and and whatnot, and so
you'll hear a name once in a while or something like that.
So anyway, they reveal that these people are in the world and they're still trying to figure out what to do with them and how to handle them,
and even they have no idea what happened to them.
Right, exactly. So they go through the whole episode where now you meet the two, the widow Prue, who is one of the touched, and her power particularly is she can see the future. She gets flashes of the future, but she's also like a really kick-ass fighter. Like she's crazy kick-ass. I'm almost thinking that's become a part of her like mutation or whatever, because she's just such a badass, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that she doesn't always know what her visions mean.
Right.
She doesn't even all the time know where she is when she has them.
She talks about they're not a treasure map. They just, it's, she just gets these.
They're a day planner, is what she calls it in the latest.
It's a day planner. Because she sees something and she goes, okay, I definitely know I'm going to go to the opera. But she doesn't know what's going to happen there, And it's interesting, too, to note that she has these, like, OCD kind of tics.
Where she
too. She's touching her fingers, and she knows
that's to try and calm herself when she,
right, exactly. She's like, oh, I'm trying to calm down, and she's got these various different like little. You can tell when she knows she feels like she's gonna be triggered because like loud noises or a sudden surprise, or I think she's almost like, oh God, is that gonna do it? Nope. Okay. Oh, is that gonna do it? Nope. She's almost always seems a little nervous, and then. Or on edge, not nervous, but almost always a little on edge. And then her best friend, was it Prudence? Prudence. She is an inventor, and her ability, basically, she was very sharp and smart and whatever, and her ability, it allows her to kind of see the way potential energy moves and everything.
Yeah, she sees all energy.
Yeah, and she becomes an inventor, and she's able to turn that information that she gets into.
What's funny is a lot of her inventions just don't work.
They don't work at first.
She's like, fuck, goddamn prototype.
The prototype, right. They don't necessarily work at first, but maybe the second or third one, got it. She's got this great like electric car that she's driving around and 3-wheeled little car. Yeah, very Tesla. It's very cool. So it's some really great, interesting like mutations and powers. One woman, tragically, like she can't touch anything without vibrating it.
Lucy,
she can't touch her skin on her hands to something without shattering it.
She killed her son.
She accidentally killed her kid, her baby.
Another girl. There's the one that she's like a teenager that she's like 15 feet tall.
Yeah, another girl that she's it's closer to probably like 12, but between 10 and 12 feet tall, somewhere in there. So she's like, she's essentially a giant, but she's all proportionate. And she's just like, she just sprouted up. Another girl that she can activate, she has like a breath that she blows on things and turns them into glass.
And then there's Bonnie, who has the fire.
Right. Yeah. Bonfire Bonnie, or she throws fire bolts out. And another character that can create these like shields, these kind of disappear, and some really cool stuff, some really creative powers, things that you might have seen in the X-Men comics, but all other things that you.
Well, then in the latest one, we meet Nimble, who throws like discs.
That's what I'm talking about. She can create these little shields that she can block things with, but also can like use them as stepping stones and stuff. We also that, and then they showed off some men too, some males.
The doctor that can heal.
Like exactly, he's not an instant like boom, you're healed. It's more like he can
stitch flesh back together.
Right, he can like speed up the process. It looks like and the one guy that worked for the crime boss who can walk on water.
Yeah.
You just walk in this huge, massive monster of a man and he can walk on water. And it was really cool how they kind of depicted that, because it wasn't like this massive solid surface. It was kind of like walking on a wet mattress.
Yeah.
Like he was like, and then that was really neat. You've got the one of the main villainous characters who's she is like crazy and has some kind of ability that kind of causes her to be even more crazy. Like her eyes glow and all of a sudden she's even more rabid. So anyway, the show is really cool. It's
you haven't quite figured out what her actual power is.
Right, exactly. But there's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of like who's on the good side, who's on the bad side.
Because even people on the good side, you see things, they have their own agendas, and you don't know that they're really on the good side.
Right, exactly. We don't do too many spoilers because it's still pretty brand new. I want to give people the opportunity to watch this and absorb
we are 4
it.
episodes in, so we're halfway through the season.
Yeah, a little bit more than halfway. We've got 2 more episodes left.
Oh, that's right. It is only 6.
But yeah, at the end of the season, at the end of the very first episode, you're wondering, hey, where is all this come from? And then you see, like I said, a giant spaceship that flies through, over the top of London, just basically seeding London with these things that just go out to people and go in their bodies, and then they become, they probably awaken at some point with powers. And not everybody gets them all at once.
Right.
Some people get them much later. It's 3 years later, and they're still discovering people that whose powers are awakening.
Well, and then at the end of the second episode, we get a scene where you see somebody, they're mining underneath the city.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is there's this giant glowing ball that looks just like the ship that flew over. So it's one of those, well, where is it? What is this now? And that it's this giant ball underneath London or just outside London. And it's just glowing with that energy.
Yeah, it came, and that was really cool too. It was like, there's every episode, there's a little tease, there's a taste, there's a really great, like, to lead into the following to the next episode. We find out, and there's a lot to unpack. You've got the one guy that has these debauched kind of big parties.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up. He's got the
Ferryman's Club.
The Ferryman's Club, that's what it is. Yeah, the Ferryman's Club, which is this. It's a sex club with drugs and alcohol and performers
like
performers
and Jabari and doing flame throwing and all kinds of crazy stuff.
And he hires the Touched to work there.
Yeah, as entertainers and as prostitutes and whatever else, And like I said, this is turn of the century posh England, so Victorian England, where people were kinky, but they were real quiet about it. So, and the thing is this guy's trying to make this event, this party, kind of a legitimate thing instead of being this underground thing. Kind of like what we did with Theater Bazaar. Instead of it making it this underground party, now it's this legitimate kind of thing. And every scene that I was watching when they're at the Ferryman's, I was reminded of Theater Bazaar a little bit, just more.
It actually reminded me a lot of
TV. Yeah, because it just maybe a little more extreme. So it's just some really cool stuff, and I'm really going to be excited to see where this goes from then on, because I think it's got legs, man. The show's got legs, and I think they're going to be there's some really like some cool stuff. Like Nick Frost plays like the mob boss.
Oh my god, yeah, he's the what the fuck?
The Rat King or something like that.
Yeah, he's the king, the Beggar King.
The Beggar King, and he's scary as hell.
Oh, he is such a different role for him.
Whoa, this is a guy that we know from Hot Fuzz and from Shaun of the Dead and
Winchester.
Yeah, Winchester. Exactly. I mean, he's known for playing these silly, kind of goofy, kind of lovable, jolly roles, and now he's playing like this kind of scary character. Now, from what I understand, Nick Frost is actually in that show called The Badlands. And it's a kind of a different role. It's more of an aggressive role for him.
Okay. I haven't watched The Badlands.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Renee and I started it, and we haven't gotten to him yet.
A friend of mine from high school was actually like a writer and producer on that show, and I still haven't had a chance to watch it, but it's kind of on my list. So, what else? I mean, there was this amazing singer that
Yeah.
she kind of
Mary,
she could, her power would come out, and she would sing the song, and energy would go out to the touched, and it would calm them and give them a sense of peace and
gave them hope.
And just some wonderful
she was a
stuff.
beacon, as they called her.
And they were really hoping that she could be, she would have the answers. She would have some answers for them. And then unfortunately gunned down in the third episode. She gets that was actually a really kind of an interesting kind of thing, that the one guy had the mutation where he had this pus that seeped out of his pores in his arm that created bullets, like turned into like these kind of like little projectiles that then would dissolve. And then they had fashioned a weapon that strapped to his arm that he kind of fed a Gatling gun that he would feed the bullets into it, and he could shoot it out. And it was pretty wild. So once again, I don't really get into too many spoilers, but that was kind of a big one. But there's a lot of conspiracy. A lot of this is all wrapped up in conspiracy, and like you were saying, everybody's got an agenda.
Yep,
there's really cool stuff. So,
you also see like workers rising up and saying, "No, you know what? This is dangerous. We're not going to do it anymore unless you pay us more." And the guy basically going, "You know what? If you go back to work now, I'll forgive all this. I won't even dock you for the time that you've taken off right now, and we'll forget this whole thing.
But if you don't,
I can replace you in 5 minutes."
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely
it shows why unions were created.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that is very with the time, very appropriate of the time too. So, so that was pretty cool as well.
Nevers, if you have HBO Max, definitely check it out. I think if you're a fan of steampunk, definitely check it out, because the costume is amazing. And
when the show's over, we'll do like a full on
and this is
review it.
Yeah, this isn't really a spoiler so much, but in the latest episode, at one point, True and Prue are sitting around in the kitchen, and she's got and Prudence has the newspaper with the chips in it.
Yeah.
With the French fry. Yeah. And I'm like, I looked at Renee, I went, those look like some really good chips.
Yeah, they were eating essentially French fries, like steak fries, essentially, the way they make them in England.
Chips.
The chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way they make them.
And I'm like, those look like really good chips. And Renee's response was, those look like really good chips. Because they look like they were just perfectly cooked. And
I was listening to the radio this morning on my way into work, and they were talking about the favorite ways people make potatoes in the United States. Apparently here in Michigan, the preferred way to prepare or fry potatoes, crinkle cut fries. Yeah. In some places, shoestring potatoes. In some places, curly fries or cheese fries or chili cheese fries or hash browns. Tater tots.
Tater tots are one of my favorites.
Personally, I like a crinkle cut, but I'm more of a shoestring French fry guy.
I'm a steak fry guy.
I do love steak fries too. I'd have to say steak fries are my number 2. But I love those McDonald's fries, man.
But McDonald's fries aren't shoestrings fries. Steak and Shake are shoestring. Those are the super thin.
Fair enough.
McDonald's are just plain old French fries. But the
crinkle cut sucks. Thanks, CD.
There's a place right by me that does crinkle cut, and they're actually not bad. But see, I'm not a curly fries guy.
Yeah, I'm not me neither. Curly fries are often too much. Like they rely too much on the seasoning, and I want to be able to taste the potato. I want to taste the fry.
Like a Rally's or Checkers, French fries, that I love.
Sure. Okay.
But that's a lot of seasoning too, and a lot of the battering. But no, to get fries the way I truly like them, they have to be frozen first. And actually, I don't like fresh cut fries as much because they're limp and they don't get that crispiness. I like a fry that's crispy on the outside and soft in the middle.
Interesting. Okay, I feel you. I get you on there. I tell you, yeah, I've like sometimes you get those home fries where they actually take a big old potato, they take a potato and just slice it
Mm-hmm.
and then throw it in the fryer. And I think you're right. I think sometimes the texture is a little weird.
Five Guys does that. That's what
Yeah.
Five Guys does, and
Yeah.
Penn Station does that too.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're okay, but
yeah, those are the fresh cut fries. They're never frozen, and
Right.
that's why you can't get that crisp French fry unless they're frozen. They have to be. You take them out of the freezer and you put them in the fryer. That's how you get that crispness on the outside. It's the only way to do it.
I didn't know that. That's funny. Yeah, that makes sense though too, because if they're that frozen, if they're that cold, and they're going in the fryer like that, okay, all right, I get you. I feel you. If you double fry them, you could get them right.
Yes,
That's
you
what
can.
CD says.
Yeah, you can't. You do have to double fry them though, so it takes twice as long, and
I'll tell you
get
though,
that much more oil.
one of the best things though in my life, McDonald's French fries, salted free. I mean, that's the only thing I really like go to McDonald's for anymore now is fries. I just love them. You know, God damn it, they're good.
McDonald's does have some of the best fries.
They really do.
Wendy's does if they're cooked right. Wendy's are fantastic because they're a little thicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they use like a sea salt, and then they'll leave a little bit of the skin on it, but not a lot. You know, so.
Yeah, that's a more recent thing. That's only in the last couple decades. When I was in high school, they didn't do that.
Right. Yeah, they changed the formula on the fries. You know, Burger King used to have fries that were almost exactly like McDonald's, and then about a decade, maybe 15 years ago, they changed the recipe on them, and they're not the same.
CD just said poutine.
See,
that's a magic word. CD.
I'm a sliced potato fried on butter man myself. Okay,
those are good too.
Those are home fries.
Yeah, but those are still good.
Yeah, they can be good. Absolutely. That's true, Ghost. Those can be really good. I made a baked potato a couple of nights ago, just butter and cheese and a big ass fucking potato, like must have big size of my fucking head. And it's like, and I'm eating the potato, but I don't eat the potato skin. And Stella's like, you're not gonna eat. You're not gonna eat your skin. What are you doing? I'm like,
yeah.
You are welcome to it. Here you go. She went and got.
That's where all the nutrients are.
That's true, actually. But she went and got some sour cream out of the fridge and some more cheese. And here, I'll take it. I can have it. Yeah, you can have it. Go right ahead. I've got the good shit out of it. Give me the carbs. So we should probably get into some Star Wars talk.
Well, actually, no. Before Star Wars, we got to talk about the Marvel.
Oh yeah.
So
holy shit, right?
Yeah. Ooh. So they built it as the teaser for the Eternals, and it was so much more than that.
Oh my god!
It was a teaser for the Eternals, but it's 3.5 minutes long.
Right.
And it starts off with going through all the stuff up to Endgame.
Right.
And it's got Stan Lee talking, and
yeah, you know what? Honestly, his voiceover over the whole thing was just precious, man.
Yes. And then they show like all these touching like human moments, you know, like Janet Van Dyne looking at is it Scott?
Scott, yeah. Correct.
And you know, for the first that with that loving look for the first time,
and Pete and Tony kind of giving a hug, and he's like, "Oh, this is nice," you know.
Yeah, and they show Hawkeye with his wife, and all these different touching moments, and then they show, you know, and then as they're building up to it, they kind of pan out, and you're seeing a theater. You see heads in front of you. Mm-hmm. And it's actually a recording of, and they put a thing down in this thing saying Avengers Endgame footage. opening night, April 26th, and it gives the date. And they're showing it, and it's the scene where they're all coming up, and you hear Falcon say, "On your left," and you hear the crowd start going, "Oh!" And then Cap's standing there, and he catches the hand. He's like, "Avengers," and he catches the hammer. Assemble. Right. And then they all charge in, and the crowd goes nuts.
And I'll tell you, and if you were in that theater, any theater at that point, the crowd goes nuts. Yep. The entire audience it brought me to fucking tears, man. I was like, I'd waited my whole life to see this on screen. Holy shit. It was the best. It's the absolute best.
Well, then it goes to, they show all these other scenes. They show the fights and stuff like that, and then they show
A lot of quick flashes. Quick
yeah,
flashes.
and then they show the snap, the second
Right.
snap where Tony snaps, and then they start getting into. They go beyond that, and they get the Marvel screen,
Mhm.
and then they go into Black Widow, and they're showing scenes from Black Widow
Right.
coming up.
I've got it up on my screen right now.
Yeah, and then they show Shang-Chi. And
Actually, and so I was corrected via the internet. Apparently, it is pronounced Song.
Shang-Chi?
Song-Chi. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Shang-Chi.
I've pronounced it Shang my whole life. So, I mean.
It's Shang. It's Shang.
It's Shang. But yeah, apparently, according to the Chinese, it's Shang-Chi.
Okay, Shang-Chi. So it's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Then they get into the Eternals, and they show a little bit more of them.
Right.
And we're actually seeing different things from Black Widow and from Shang-Chi
Right.
as well. We're seeing different scenes than what they've already shown us. A little bit of the same things, but some different things.
And it gives us a date on each one. So
Yes.
Black Widow, July 9th of this year.
So let's start there. July 9th this year, between July 9th, 2021 and July 8th, 2022, there are 7 Marvel movies coming out.
Wow. That's crazy.
In a 12-month period, we are going to get 7 movies.
7 MCU movies.
Yes.
That's not including
all the TV shows that are also
all the TV shows. Also, Morbius, which is technically a Marvel movie.
And Venom 2 as well.
And Venom 2, exactly. Which are both have been said they are in the same universe as the Spider-Man films. So it makes them MCU, but they're Sony produced films. So anyway, but you're right.
So yes. So Black Widow, July 9th this year.
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi, September 3rd this year.
Correct. Let's see.
Eternals, November 5th this year.
Yep, September 3rd, and then now we get into the Eternals.
Then they just start showing flashes of titles because they don't have anything ready for them yet.
Right.
We get Spider-Man: No Way Home on December 17th this year.
Yes.
So in 2021 we're getting 4 movies.
Correct.
And then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is March 25th of next year. Thor: Love and Thunder is May 6th of next year. And then to round out that year of 7 movies is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
But then, yes. And then, holy shit, and people lost their shit. Wakanda Forever. Holy crap. Well, because we all know they're not recasting the Black Panther, and Chadwick Boseman passed away. So it is going to be more about Wakanda, more about the people, the other people in Wakanda.
I'm curious probably, I want to know how they're going to write him out.
I agree. I think he is going to pass away. The character is going to die, but they're going to write him out. And then I think this whole movie will be Shuri proving herself to be the next Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yes.
And then we get the Marvels, which they didn't actually put up there. They didn't put that one up, I don't think, on the thing. But
it is.
Is it on there?
Yep.
So that's
Marvel, November 11th.
Yeah, mm-hmm. November 11th next year. Then in 2023, we get Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's February 17th and then May 5th. And then the big thing at the end that I missed the very first time I watched it is they show the Marvel logo, and it looks like they're doing the Avengers A at first, but it's actually the 4 the circle for Fantastic Four.
Yep. Fantastic Four is in pre-production, and the script is being written. They're working on it right now. There's been no casting. I would assume that there probably have been talks, that they've talked to people, but no official word yet on who's playing the FF.
That one, I watched it again today for the second time when I showed it to Renee, and I went, wait a minute. I missed that the first time.
Yeah.
Because it's real light, too. It's not like it stands out. It's just kind of background light.
It's like they snuck it in there at the end,
Like, hey.
But you got to remember, this is so cool. I mean, and that's the thing. Some of the stuff in this footage is brand new stuff. Like the Eternals, we haven't seen any footage from the movies yet. At the best we've seen are a few stills. We've seen a few, like people have seen what some of the toys are going to look like and some of the things like, but we haven't seen any footage until now. And they've been real kind of tight-lipped. And considering this movie's been done, it was supposed to come out last year. Almost, it was supposed to come out in November of last year, but then it's been done for like 3 years, give or take, or probably at least 2 years, because a movie is usually done at least a year before it comes out. 6 months to a year. It's usually done 6 months to a year before it comes out.
Depending on the movie, but yeah.
Depending on the movie, correct. This movie, so Eternals has been done for a while now. And so we're seeing Salma Hayek, we see a little bit of Angelina Jolie, we see Kumail Nanjiani, who is jacked all to hell. Holy shit. I don't know if you've seen the footage. I think we talked about it. Kumail Nanjiani he got in super serious, holy shit, incredible shape for this movie, and he has maintained it. And in fact, he's even more jacked now than he was back a year ago. So I'm excited as all.
It was actually supposed to come out in February of this year, originally, it says.
Are you sure? I thought it was November, and then they moved it to February from the initial.
Scheduled for February 2021 release has now been pushed back for the third time to November 5th.
Yeah, originally it was pushed back. It was originally supposed to come out.
Yeah, Friday, November. Well, no, that's when it's actually coming out. When was it?
It was originally supposed to come out in November of last year. Then they pushed it to February, hoping that with the coronavirus and whatnot, and then that just didn't pan out again. So.
So they began principal photography in July of 2019.
Right.
Filming continued until February 2020. So it looks like they finished filming in February of 2020. So
roughly 6 months. They finished filming roughly 6 months before the movie came out, give or take. So,
but yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff that they have planned for Phase 4.
Yep. We've got a lot of superhero movies in the next couple of years, because then we also have Aquaman before the end of the year from DC. We got Flash next year. There's we've announced Wonder Woman 3 in 2023. The Batman is next year. So I think it's next year. Or is it this year? No, it's next year.
I thought it was late this year, but maybe
I think it might be late this year, actually.
2022.
Right.
So it is next year.
Okay. So we get a lot of superhero movies in the next few years.
March 4th of next year.
Okay.
Is what it says.
2020 was the first year in roughly a decade since we haven't had any superhero movies released in the theaters.
So in 40 years we get DC versus Marvel.
Yeah, man. When I'm 80, don't tease me like that.
What about Marvel versus Street Fighter?
Oh God. But yeah, Ghost, I agree, man. The whole overall society in Wakanda is fascinating. What they did to create that environment, what the directors and writers did for the first movie was amazing, and I think a TV show set in Wakanda would be spectacular. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that I'm sure that Wakanda Forever will be hands down fantastic.
But yeah, so along with all of this, we also get Loki in June. What
Correct.
If later in the summer? Hawkeye's supposed to be out this year. Ms. Marvel's supposed to be out this year.
Correct.
Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special are all supposed to be out next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be an amazing couple of years. We're gonna see some.
We need something after
stuff.
The pandemic.
Oh, absolutely.
We need hope again.
Yeah, we certainly do. And we're gonna get it. We're definitely gonna get it. But speaking of hope, and a new hope.
Nice segue. I see what you did there.
Yeah, did you? I hope so. It was pretty, evident.
It was a little blatant.
It was a little blatant. But today is, of course, May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. And what are you doing to support and celebrate Star Wars Day on this lovely, lovely Tuesday.
Wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Wearing a Star Wars shirt. Me too. I didn't have time to watch any of the shows.
Yeah, I really didn't have time to watch anything. I really wanted to, but because I can put stuff on my computer because I'm working here at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can put stuff on my computer that I can just listen to and glance over at once in a while and work. And if I need a break just to clear my head, I can, watch it for a couple minutes and then go back to work. But today was so busy and I was in so many meetings, and especially with a 3-hour meeting with Cisco this afternoon that just it just sapped all life out of me. So I really haven't been able to celebrate much other than that. Tomorrow I might watch Empire if I get the chance, because it's Revenge of the Fifth, and it's the one where the bad guys actually win.
Yeah, I was thinking I might try and catch Rogue
favorite.
One this week.
Rogue One's good.
Yeah, so maybe Rogue One.
Rogue One is one of my favorites as well. I think that's one of the top movies. It's a great spy flick.
I think it is hands down one of the best Star Wars movies that has been made. It's absolutely fantastic. Because it's not just Empire, a good Star Wars movie. It's a good movie.
And that's the thing. I think you got like Empire up here, Rogue One's here.
Yeah.
And then the next closest one is like here. It's like there's a huge gap between those.
Absolutely. Just a fantastic. I mean,
it's a great spy and war movie. Yeah.
It really is. It's a great Star Wars movie, but beyond that, it's a really great spy movie. It's a great war movie. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a downer of an ending.
Yeah.
Which is also, it's got a downer of an ending, but also gives you hope at the end, because it leads right into Star Wars, into New Hope. Yeah, it's such a great movie, and I think it was one of those ones that people just didn't give them. It didn't get it. I mean, it did get some really, really great attention, but I think it could have gotten more. It should have gotten more.
So now I'm going to ask you this. This is something that I was thinking about, and this is a question I thought we could talk about a little bit tonight. Who is your favorite Star Wars character that is not one of the main characters?
Not one of the main guys? Oh, okay.
Like a secondary who's your favorite secondary or even, tertiary character that you've seen in Star Wars that you'd like to have more of, to see more, learn more about?
I think a lot of people say Boba, and because he's not a main character even at all,
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess he's technically a secondary, but
he's really a secondary character. And shit, in anything, honestly, Jango Fett did a lot more in Star Wars than Boba did. It just Boba was just the first that we saw. It was just, wow, who's this cool guy in the background? That's a really tough question.
I think I know who mine is.
I always liked Lando, but I think Lando would still be considered one of the more primary characters at this point. So you're saying not Luke, Leia, Han, or Chewie, right? Or the droids,
or Anakin,
or Obi-Wan,
Kenobi,
or Vader,
or even the Emperor. I wouldn't even say.
And I'd still put Lando up there. He's pretty important, and he's in Empire and Jedi.
And he becomes a main character in Jedi.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I really liked. What was the droid in Rogue One that what's his name voiced?
K2SO.
K2SO was goddamn hilarious.
Yeah. Which we're gonna get more of him, I think, in Andor.
Yeah.
When that comes out.
That makes sense. Yeah. You know me. I've always been. I love Star Wars, and I collected. I had a lot of Star Wars toys as a kid. I collected a shit ton of them. I think, I've said this before. I've always resonated a little more with Star Trek instead of Star Wars. But so if you ask me this question for Star Trek, I could definitely answer the question. I always had a fondness for the bounty hunters, like IG-88 and Bosk and
Dengar was one of mine.
Dengar. Kind of I always wondered about in the prequels, about some of the other Jedi in the background, you know, like Kit Fisto and some of the
Yeah, I
other
wouldn't mind
ones.
hearing more about them too, but
Because that's the thing, they've had comic books that have, detailed some of their life
Yep.
stories and stuff like that.
well,
So
actually,
yeah, I'd say
there has been for the one that I would pick too, but
what's that?
I said the one that I would pick is actually the one that I think.
I probably, you know what, honestly, probably Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. I've always had an appreciation for Admiral Akbar. I mean, just the fact that what's their race again? The
Mon Calamari.
The Mon Calamari. I always thought that was the weirdest. Like, I mean, they're this aquatic race, they're fish people essentially.
Yep.
That have that are known for building these elaborate, huge spaceships.
Very, very rounded. They actually share a planet with the squid face guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, it's and actually CD hit it. It's actually Wedge Antilles. I think would be the one I would want to see more of. Honestly, I wish they would. I wish we had the cut of Star Wars where the scenes between Luke and Biggs were still in.
Yeah.
Where Biggs comes back to Tatooine and actually talks to Luke. And I had pictures of those because back in the late 70s, early 80s, they came out with a Star Wars book, and you could get it through like your school when they did the book drive thing where you could buy books. And I actually bought the New Hope book, and it was like one of those that was like 8.5 inches wide or 11 inches wide by like 14. It was one of those big books, and it had a bunch of pictures from the movie, like from the set, it was stills from filming is what it was. And one of them was actually Biggs and Luke talking. You actually see Biggs in his Imperial uniform with the cape and the whole deal.
I think I've seen those shots. Yeah, I think I've seen that.
And that was something I always wanted to see more of was what Biggs did when he went off to the academy and what caused him to go to the rebellion. And then Wedge, I just always liked Wedge. Wedge is the only pilot to actually survive both Death Star attacks. Correct.
And the actor who played Wedge is actually the uncle of Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's his uncle, or it's a relative. I think it's an uncle. I'm fairly certain it's an uncle. But yeah. So Wedge Antilles. That's a great answer.
And by the way, so
Commander
in
Rex,
New Hope, when Vader is interrogating that guy,
the only red shirt who lives, orange.
And when the whole thing with that first ship that Leia's on when Vader attacks, C-3PO mentions that their last master was Captain Antilles.
Oh yeah,
of the ship, and I always wondered if that was like Wedge's father or something like that, but it has come out that no, Antilles is just a last name. It's just a surname from a certain planet, and that Captain Antilles and Wedge are not actually related, or were never intended to be related.
Well, that's just really fucking cool. I mean, I love the detail too. I mean, like finding out those little tidbits of information. So maybe Antilles is kind of like Stevenson or Johnson, fairly common name. Did you know, I did not realize this, but the Bad Batch, I believe, was just released.
Yes,
today.
He is the maternal uncle of Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, episode 1 of Star Wars The Bad Batch. I think it started today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, on Disney Plus. It's I don't want to go into this whole, I pulled up a review basically, and I don't want to go into it too much, but
oh yeah, it did. There it is.
It says definitely handles the Order 66 retread. So guys, for those of you guys who don't know, Bad Batch is a new animated series featuring done in the same style of Clone Wars and whatnot. It takes place after Revenge of the Sith, after Order 66. where a bunch of the clone troopers basically like break off and go rogue, for lack of a better term. And although yes, they are all essentially, you know, variations on the clone of you know, Jango Fett, they all pretty much come into their own and become their own beings, and so they go off and do their own thing. And it looks really cool. Looks like pretty badass. So I'm excited to check it out. Thing is I really think I want to wait though until I watch the Clone Wars. I haven't watched the entire Clone Wars series, so I kind of really want to watch this. But you know, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have to. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking ahead here. Because we got so many things coming out for Star Wars too. We got the Bad Batch, which is starting now. We got the Book of Boba Fett, which comes out in December.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandalorian season 3, which is still to be determined. Ahsoka, which is still to be determined. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is seeing Ahsoka.
Yes.
I think Rosario Dawson was fan-fucking-tastic as Ahsoka.
She's good in anything though, man. I mean, She was awesome as Claire Temple in the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yep.
I loved how she was like that kind of bridging element between all of them. She's just I adore that woman. She's anything.
She's fantastic in Clerks 2.
She's amazing in Clerks 2. She was in
great in Sin City.
Sin City. I was just gonna say that she was in Sin City. She's just, like I said, she's fantastic in everything she does.
Yep.
So
then we got the Rangers of the New Republic, which is still to be announced. Andor, which is supposed to be out next year. Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is still to be determined. The Acolyte, which is still to be determined. Rogue Squadron, which is December 22nd, 2023, which is a movie that Patty Jenkins is doing. Then there's the untitled Taika Waititi movie.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, there's going to be the Lando show, I believe, on Disney Plus, which is still to be determined. Star Wars Visions, which is basically where they're going to give a bunch of animators free reign to do their vision of things in the Star Wars universe, which could be interesting. A Droid Story, which will be about the droids. Then there's supposedly still the untitled Rian Johnson trilogy out there, which I really hope they don't give him anything after the abomination that was.
I know. I don't think that they're going to give him anything more. I think he's done. There's also
the untitled Kevin Feige movie.
Okay.
Then the J.D. Dillard movie.
There's just a screaming crap ton of Star Wars stuff,
yep.
You know. And I also heard a rumor,
but there's not a lot. There's not like the mass glut that we're going to get from the MCU this year.
True, correct. They are being a little more judicious, probably because they're still working on a lot of it. I mean, This shit takes time. You know, all these special effects. That's the thing. You know, Star Wars movies are really special effects heavy. So
yeah,
you know, it's going to take some time. Not that Marvel movies aren't, but you know, you don't have massive space battles in most of the Marvel movies. You know. I did hear a rumor today. I did read a rumor today that there are some people that are saying that Disney is in talks with Gina Carano about coming back. About, like, you know, I guess maybe there's some people that are saying that Disney is rethinking their removal of her and all this other shit, and yet, but then there's some people that like I said, this is all rumor and speculation. There were other people that turned around and said Gina Carano doesn't want to come back after all of this, you know. And it's just funny. Like, I was talking with some of my neighbors just on the weekend. Like, they were like, what do you think about? Because we were talking Mandalorian stuff and whatever. And I said, she was like, what do you think about? What about Gina Carano? And I go, I think Gina Carano spoke her mind and didn't realize the consequences of said words. I mean, she talked herself out of a job. It would have been one thing if she had just made that initial post and then was just like, and people were like, it's just kind of a conspiracy nut or whatever. And then But then she doubled down and she kept going. And she,
Yeah.
even after they said, you should watch what you say and be careful. And you're not, some of the things that you're saying are a little inflammatory, and be careful. This is not like the Jews in Nazi Germany, blah, blah, whatever. And yet then she turned around and doubled down. And it was just like, oh, good Lord, woman, what is the matter with you? Talked herself out of a job with Disney, and was not just Disney, but Star Wars, I mean, honestly, if you were to ask me what was my favorite character, side character in The Mandalorian, I would have said Cara Dune, hands down. Because I mean, outside of Mando himself, I thought she was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I like the IG too.
The IG was a lot of fun too. He was great.
Especially when he became a nursemaid.
God, that was funny. I liked the lady that was running the ship
too.
port. She was fun.
I liked so many of those characters.
Yeah, they had so many great characters. I mean, Carl Weathers' character ended up being cool, and hell, Gideon Moff is fucking scary and awesome. Moff Gideon. He was great too, but I gotta say, man, I really dug Cara Dune. But like I said, that woman talked herself out of a fucking job. It was crazy. And not just because of that, she's also having she's gonna have a tough time finding any work in Hollywood that's not on the fringe.
Yep.
That's not like fringe weird shit. So
sci-fi movies, here she comes.
Yeah. Sci-fi originals.
Yep.
They're gonna be direct to DVD or direct to
9 p.m. Saturday
direct
night
to streaming
on Sci-Fi.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, we should wrap things up.
We should. Great talk, guys. Be sure to check us out in all the places you can find quality podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. We are on iTunes. We're on the Google Play Store. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com. And of course, you can download and stream all of our episodes direct from www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. Every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, we're right here on Drinking Nerds. And then again on our YouTube channel a couple of days later. Guys, also check us out this Friday for Tavern Nights at 7 o'clock for some D&D raucousness. We just had a great shopping episode, shopping and dinner, and lots of fun RP role-playing. It should be, and we continue to have that great stuff, I'm sure, coming.
You're about to be on a boat.
We're going to be on a boat.
Boats.
Boats and hoes and kind of. No, what? Boats and, yeah, I guess some of us are hoes.
Sure. Yeah, so you can also follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter, Drinking Nerds, and Instagram, Drinking Nerds. And then if you're on Untapped, go ahead and take a look for Drinking Nerds. Send us a friend request, and we will get you added on there as well.
Exactly. Hey, guys, don't forget, real quick, saw this coming up too, June 20th, next season of Rick and Morty. Oh, yeah.
I still gotta watch the other seasons. I'm only like halfway through season 1. But I've seen the dragon episode multiple times now.
You've seen what?
The dragon episode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, god damn, it's so funny.
It's like the one go-to that that everybody's like, oh, you haven't seen Rick and Morty? Here, watch this episode.
Yeah, that is definitely one of those episodes you're like, oh, you want to understand Rick and Morty? Here, watch this. Watch the filthiest episode there is. Slut dragon. Yes, slut dragon. Things like that. All right, so we should get moving.
Yep.
Hey, one more toast to Mr. Wiggins. Well, he is greatly missed.
I don't.
You still got to. Did you drink all your mead?
I did. I drank all my mead. I just finished it. So.
See ya in the next life, old brother.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think on that note. Until next time. Sláinte. Oh. That was a good one. All right. Have a good night. May the force be with you all.
See ya. Can I